No phones, no internet, no TikTok, no WhatsApp. Yet somehow, centuries ago, tribes managed to communicate across miles of forests, deserts, and mountains. Imagine this, a tribal chief sitting on a hilltop, sending what was basically a WhatsApp status update. But instead of emojis, he had fire, smoke, drums, and even human messengers. Yes, before Silicon Valley, there were smoky valleys. Before Facebook, there were fire signals. And before Elon Musk, there was that one tribal uncle who ran faster than a horse to deliver messages. Today, we'll uncover the secret world of tribal communication. Their own internet, built without electricity. Their own social media, without apps. And trust me, some of these methods are way cooler than our 5G. So buckle up, because this is a journey into the past, where gossip traveled by fire, war alerts echoed in drum beats, and a single smoke signal could change the fate of an entire village. Let's start with the OG of tribal communication. Smoke signals. Picture this. You're in the desert or on a mountain, miles away from the nearest human being. No text messages, no phone towers. How do you let your people know danger is coming? Or maybe you just want to say, "Hey fam, dinner's ready." Simple, you burn a fire. But here's the twist. You don't let it burn freely. You cover it with a blanket, then release it in puffs. Each puff, each pattern, was a code. One puff meant we're safe. Two puffs might mean enemy sighted. Three long trails? Send help immediately. Sounds familiar? Exactly. That's WhatsApp groups. One code for family chat, another for urgent work group, another for, well, the annoying spam uncle. Tribes like the Native Americans, Chinese soldiers on the Great Wall, and even African communities mastered the system. With just smoke and sky, they built an airborne language. It was fast, it was visible for miles, and it was silent. Unless, of course, you coughed from standing too close. Think about it. Centuries before we posted Insta stories, people were literally posting cloud stories in the sky. Now imagine you're in the middle of the thick African jungle. No mountains for smoke. Trees so tall, smoke might vanish. So what do? You use something louder. Drums. The talking drums of Africa were legendary. Each beat, each rhythm, each pause carried meaning. These weren't random beats like your neighbor blasting EDM. These were messages. For example, a short fast beat might mean stranger approaching. A long booming beat could warn enemy raid. Villages miles apart could literally converse in drum language. And get this, some expert drummers could mimic the tone of spoken language, which means they weren't just sending alerts, they were sending full-on paragraphs. Imagine someone dropping a 3-minute drum solo that basically says, "Hey brother, we're running low on food, bring bananas when you come." That, my friends, was the world's first voice note. Only difference? Instead of 2x speed playback, you had the whole village dancing while decoding the message. In a way, this was tribal Spotify plus WhatsApp rolled into one, except here, when the beat dropped, everyone paid attention. Okay, so not every tribe had mountains for smoke or jungles perfect for drum echoes. Sometimes the oldest and most reliable method was also the simplest. Human messengers. Yes, before DHL, before Amazon Prime, before even the postman with his little bag, there was that one guy in the tribe whose only job was to run. And boy, could he run. Tribes in Africa, South America, and even ancient Greece had these runners. They trained from childhood to carry messages across deserts, jungles, and mountains, often covering distances of 20, 30, even 100 kilometers in a single day. No sneakers, no water bottles, just grit, bare feet, and lungs of steel. Imagine this. A tribal chief whispers a secret message into the ear of a runner. That runner dashes through forests, dodges wild animals, climbs hills, and hours later arrives at another village to repeat the words, exactly as they were told. One mistake, and it could mean the difference between peace and war. In today's terms, that's basically WhatsApp delivery turned into FedEx Express. Except here, if your delivery boy got tired or eaten by a lion, your message wasn't arriving on time. These runners were so respected, many tribes treated them like heroes. They were the tribal Wi-Fi routers, connecting people across impossible distances. And let's be honest, if Amazon had used these guys, your package would have been delivered in half the time. Now, not every message needed to be urgent like enemy coming or send food. Sometimes tribes wanted to leave messages that lasted. Something people could read days, weeks, or even years later. Enter carvings, symbols, and pictographs. Picture this. A hunter goes deep into the forest, carves an animal symbol on a tree to warn others. Danger, lions nearby. Or maybe he carves a sun symbol to say, good place for hunting tomorrow. These carvings became the first permanent notice boards. Think of them as Facebook wall posts, except literally on a wall of stone. Across Africa, Native America, and even Aboriginal tribes in Australia, Symbols told stories. Spirals, animals, stick figures. Each carried meaning. One rock carving might say, "This river is sacred." Another might mark territory boundaries, like a prehistoric no trespassing sign. And here's the fun part. It wasn't just warnings. These carvings were also art, history, even memes of their time. Imagine someone carving a funny animal doodle that became the village's inside joke for generations. Yes, my friends, that was their emoji pack. So while today we send in seconds, tribes were already painting their own emoji libraries on rocks, caves, and trees. Only difference? Their emojis survived for thousands of years, while ours disappear in 24 hours on Instagram stories. Smoke signals worked in the day, but what about the night, when the sky was black and danger could strike at any moment? Tribes came up with something even more dramatic. Fire signals. On hilltops, watchtowers, or mountains, they lit huge bonfires that could be seen for miles. Each fire was a message. One torch burning might mean, all is safe. Multiple flames bursting on different peaks might mean, enemy invasion. The coolest part? These fires spread messages like retweets on Twitter. One hill lit its flame, the next village saw it, lit their own flame, and the next one after that. Within minutes, entire regions knew what was happening. No hashtags, no Elon Musk, just pure tribal Wi-Fi powered by fire. History is filled with examples. The Great Wall of China had beacon towers every few miles, where soldiers passed fire signals across thousands of kilometers to warn of Mongol invasions. In Europe, medieval kingdoms used the same trick to announce danger across castles. And in tribes across Africa and South America, night fires weren't just warnings. They were also used for celebration. Imagine a tribe lighting a series of fires just to say, "Big feast tonight, bring meat and drums." In a way, this was the world's first notification system. Bright, dramatic, impossible to ignore. Because let's be honest, no one could mute a giant fire burning on top of a mountain. Now here's the thing. Not all tribal communication was about danger, hunting, or survival. Some of it was about memory, culture, and gossip. Tribes didn't have written books, no Google Docs, no Netflix. Instead, they had oral traditions and storytelling. Picture this, a starry night. The whole tribe gathers around the fire. An elder begins telling stories, myths of creation, tales of ancestors, jokes about the trickster spirit, or even the latest village gossip. These stories weren't just entertainment, they were libraries of knowledge. Through words, songs, chants, and performances, tribes passed down history, laws, moral lessons, and cultural values. Every child listening became the next hard drive, storing those stories and retelling them for the next generation. Sound familiar? Yep. That was basically the first Netflix binge session, except instead of clicking next episode, you had to wait for the storyteller to clear his throat. It was also the first podcast system. Elders were the podcasters, fire was the microphone, and the audience was, well, everyone. Sometimes the stories taught lessons. Don't break rules or the spirits will punish you. Other times they were hilarious, making the whole tribe laugh till dawn. So while today we hit play on Spotify or scroll YouTube, tribes had the original playlists, carried in their memory, shared around the fire, and passed on for centuries. No ads, no subscriptions, just pure human connection. So, no phones, no Wi-Fi, no apps. Yet somehow tribes around the world managed to stay connected, with smoke signals, with drums, with runners, with carvings, with fire beacons, and with stories whispered across generations. Each method was unique. Each one was clever. And together they built the first human networks. Long before we scrolled Instagram, tribes carved their stories in caves. Before Twitter hashtags, they lit fire signals across mountains. Before WhatsApp voice notes, they drummed messages through jungles. And before Netflix, they told stories under the stars. In some ways, their communication was slower than ours. But in other ways, it was richer, more human, more alive, more dramatic. Messages weren't just typed. They were burned, beaten, carved, run, sung, remembered. And here's the wild thought. If tribes could do all this without satellites or electricity, imagine what secrets of connection we've lost in our rush for technology. So next time your Wi-Fi goes down, maybe try drumming on the table or lighting a candle in the window. Who knows? You might just rediscover the magic of the oldest networks on Earth. But here's the final question. If ancient tribes had communication methods so powerful, what do you think people will say about our phones and internet thousands of years from now? Will they laugh at our emojis, the way we laugh at smoke signals? Or will our memes become the cave paintings of the future?